Hey everybody, thank you for being here. My name is Peppa. You probably know me as Peppa Llama, and this is another reading from a blog post that I created around my Curate a Life that is a work of art philosophy. The original post was created in February, and you can read the original post on my website at peppalama.com. However, the intention for me creating these videos and uploading them to YouTube is that I wanted to share this content in a different way. In case you're like me and you don't really like reading from a screen, you prefer to read a physical book, or perhaps because you're trying to be a little bit more mindful about the time that you're spending staring at a screen, I wanted to upload the content in this format so that you could listen to it. Think about it like a podcast or an audio book, or perhaps like a voice note exchange between you and a friend. As I often say, my friends and I make jokes with each other that we're sending a podcast series to each other when we're communicating back and forth in that way. And that's why I wanted to share it in this format so that it feels very non-corporate, which is how my guidance business is set up. I want it to be very, very non-corporate. I want it to feel authentic. I want it to feel like a real conversation with a real human being, which is what it is. So if perhaps you were interested in working with me for creative guidance, this will give you a bit of an insight as to what that would look like. So I'll go into reading the blog post. As I said, I originally posted it in February, and the title is Aligning the 5 V's for Creative Wellness. I recently discovered an interesting approach to joy and happiness by psychiatrist and researcher Dr. Judith Joseph and her Happiness Lab. It's called the 5 V's. And it resonated with me because it aligns with my Curate a Life that is a work of art philosophy, particularly how it integrates the mind, body, soul, and environment as essential components for well-being. And I often say that my philosophy of Curate a Life that is a work of art is structured on a holistic approach. And when I say holistic, I mean I want to take into consideration your mind, your body, your soul, and your environment, making sure those 4 pillars are aligned so that you can live and create in an authentic way, in a way that naturally unfolds as curating a life that is a work of art. When we look at everything as a whole, when we take a holistic approach to what we're doing, we're not just compartmentalizing one little thing here and one little thing there. We're looking at everything as the whole and then working from that place, which is what my philosophy is based upon. And I kind of liked this 5 V's approach because it's in a very similar vein. You've got 5 V's, which are validation, venting, values, vitals, and vision that you put together in a holistic way for joy and happiness. So it's taking a very similar approach. It's holistic. We're not just looking at one thing, we're looking at the whole. So in the process of curating a life that is a work of art, these principles align with living on purpose, with authenticity, with awareness and creativity. And when we see ourselves as the artists of our lives, that is exactly how we want to be. And that's the framework that we want to live for with this alignment. So let's think about the art of self-awareness. Creative wellness begins with self-awareness. The more we understand ourselves, our thoughts, our emotions, our patterns, our cycles, the more authentic we can be in how we curate our lives. We are all individual, unique human beings having an individual, unique experience. So the more we can get in alignment with that, the more we know who we are, then we can live from an authentic, inspired place. And I truly believe that your creativity is the truest expression of who you are. Your creativity is unique to you. It's not just what you do, it's who you are and how you live. And the more you know who you truly are, the more your life and your creativity will flow. And from the Taoist perspective, we always want everything to be flowing and in flow. We don't want to force. And then we need to think about our creative environment. And it's so important that we stop staying in spaces that make us shrink. We want to be in expansive environments that support us and our creativity. Because creativity thrives in these expansive, nourishing environments, whether that's a physical space, an emotional energy, or the people we surround ourselves with. And yes, this is something to think about. The people you surround yourself with are part of your environment. If your environment stifles your creativity, and this includes the people that you're surrounding yourself with, if they make you feel small or unseen, or they drain you and your spirit and your creative energy, then it's time to reassess what that environment is doing to you on all of the levels, on all levels of your well-being, and you may need to make adjustments accordingly. Your external environment reflects your internal landscape. What's going on in the exterior is probably going on in the interior. Just as an artist curates their studio, you must curate your life to support your creativity and your well-being. Ask yourself, does this space, person, or habit help me grow, or does it diminish me? Take a moment to think about that. Think about your environment that you're in right now. Does that environment, that space, and that includes the people that are in it, and the habits that you are performing in that space, are they helping you grow, or are they diminishing you? That's something to really think about. Your critical inner voice. You need to rewrite that narrative. The voice inside our heads can either empower or destroy our creative confidence. Often, this critical voice comes from past conditioning, internalized societal expectations, or unresolved wounds. The goal is not to silence it, but to rewrite the narrative, to shift from self-judgment to self-comparison. So, observe your inner dialogue. Would I speak to a close friend this way? Just sit and think about that for a moment. If you just constantly have some sort of an inner dialogue going through your mind, think about what it's saying. And think about how you would feel if somebody said that to a friend of yours. Just notice those thoughts as they pass through your head. Reframe any judgment as curiosity. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, ask yourself a different question. What am I learning from this? And give yourself grace. If you're starting out with something new, allow yourself to be bad at something when you're a beginner. It's inevitable. We all have to start from somewhere. We all have to start at the bottom. And yes, there's going to be a period of time whenever you're starting anything new, particularly a creative practice, where it's not going to flow that easily to you because you don't have the practice on board yet. So be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself in those moments. Your creative expression is not just about the final product, but it's about the process, and honor where you are. And I often say, create something just for the sake of creating it. Don't create it with some expectation on the outcome. Don't think that you're going to create a masterpiece in that moment. It's not gallery worthy. You're not going to frame it and put it on the wall. Just create. Let the creativity flow through you. Have fun with the materials that are in front of you. See what comes up. Have zero expectations and enjoy the process. Create for the sake of creating. So let's think about the 5 V's and how they relate to everything that I just said. The 5 V's as they apply to creative wellness. So with the 5 V's, V number 1 is validation. The art of self-acknowledgement. Creative wellness begins with recognizing and honoring your emotions. Acknowledge what you're really feeling. No judgment, just self-awareness. And as I've said in some of these previous videos, you might want to check in with yourself on the yin or yang scale if that helps you energetically. Are you feeling a little more yin or are you feeling more yang? Take time throughout your day just to kind of notice where you're at. Check in with yourself. Honor where you're at and then move and create from that place. Acknowledge what you're really feeling, because creativity thrives when your emotions are expressed, not suppressed. And when we express, we're in flow. When we suppress, we're forcing them in. We always want to be in that flowing state. So let's think about some expressive art practices to get these things moving. What colors represent your mood today? So if you're doing your self-check-in, you're seeing how you're feeling energetically. Are you more on the yin or on the yang? Take it a step further and think, if there was a color palette around this, what would I choose? What color is the best representation of where I'm at right now? And then make some art with that color. What textures, techniques, or mediums mirror your emotions? If you're feeling very soft and fluid and flowy, you might want to paint with watercolors. If you're also feeling kind of soft, you might want to use charcoal or something that's soft that will glide along your paper. You can smudge it, you can use your hands, you can get involved in that way. If you're feeling like you really need to express something, then you may want to do something more physical. It just really depends on where you're at and how that is going to express itself through you. Let your art be your voice in that moment. Neuroscience shows that when we label emotions, their intensity decreases. Art, journaling, and creative expression allow emotions to move through us rather than control us. So again, when you're doing that check-in, be honest with yourself. Be authentic in that moment. How am I feeling? Where am I at? How do I need to express myself right now? And go ahead and take on a creative practice that's going to be the most authentic expression of how you're feeling. Don't censor yourself. Don't be like, oh, but I shouldn't do that because this, that, and that. No, no censorship. Just go for it. Be authentic and let it flow through you. So the second V is venting, the art of releasing emotional pressure through creative expression. All great artists, writers, and creators know the importance of releasing inner tension. We don't want things to build inside of us because that's forced. We want them to flow out of us no matter how they are. It's not always going to be pretty. It's not always going to be beautiful. And as I say, it's not always going to be a gallery-worthy masterpiece. Sometimes you just need to get it out. Creative blocks often stem from these pent-up emotions because you've got everything going on inside, you're not releasing it. So of course you're going to get blocked. Of course you're going to get stuck. You want to let it flow. And venting, in one of the 5 V's, it's more about this like talking or feeling the emotion. It's about expressing it. So if you're feeling like you need to vent something out, you need to express it. Journaling is a really wonderful way to do this. And free write without censoring yourself. Just let it rip, let it flow. Everything that's going on in your brain, everything that's going on through your body, let it come out through your hand, through your writing implement, whatever that is, onto the page. Just let it go. Do that brain dump and release it. Don't hold that intensity inside. Get it out. Let it flow. When you're also in that kind of state, you might want to move. You might want to dance, surf, walk. Let that energy out. Again, let it flow. Don't hold it in. Don't force it. You might also want to do some voice work if it's very, very emotional for you. You might want to sing, scream into a pillow. If you're super frustrated, put on some angry death metal music and just like let that move through you in that moment. Let the sound move through you. Music and sound can be an incredible way to allow these emotions to move through you, and musicians are artists. It's all part of being creative. So allow sound and music to guide you when you're feeling this way. So studies show that when we suppress our emotions, that increases our stress levels, and when we express them, it brings mental clarity, problem solving, and creative breakthroughs because it's flowing. I keep saying this, I must sound like a broken record by now, but it's not just a Taoist principle. It's so important for your wellness in general, but especially for your creative wellness. You need to let things flow. You can't hang on to them. You can't keep them stuck. You can't keep them blocked. You can't force them to stay. You're just going to stress yourself out. You're going to burn out. You're going to be blocked, and you don't want to be in that state. Let it out. And there's plenty of creative ways that you can do that. So the third V we're moving on to is values, the art of feeding your creative soul. Creativity flourishes when it's aligned with your personal values. What makes you feel full and nourished and supported? Where do you find meaning in your creative practice? How do you use your creativity to connect with others? What activities just make you lose track of time? When you're so involved in a creative process, the time just flies by. You're not even conscious of the time in that moment. You're just so in the flow. You're so in the expression. You're just in that moment. What would I create if I wasn't afraid of judgment? If I wasn't worried about what anybody else was going to think or someone was going to critique or judge me? What would come out if I didn't have anybody watching or telling me what to do? And then how can your creativity contribute to something bigger than yourself? And a creative insight on this one, the third V, values, is the research from the Happiness Lab that shows that people who engage in purpose-driven creativity, which is creating for joy, for healing, or for connection, rather than just for external validation, experience greater fulfillment. And I encourage you to go and identify your own 5 core values using Brené Brown's framework. I'll put a link to that in the notes below. I always encourage people to do this because once you get really clear on those values, you can start living in alignment with them, and you will start living and creating from a very, very authentic place, and that's where creativity thrives. So the 4th V is your vitals, and that refers to the body. So let's think about that as the art of tuning your body as an instrument of creativity. Your body is your vessel for creativity. Everything you create is going to move through your body. So start thinking about it like that. Creativity isn't just in your mind. It's a full embodied experience. It's in the mind, of course, but it's in your whole physical body as well. And you use your body, especially your hands, to transmute it, to get it out, to express it. So creativity is a full body embodied experience. How many bodies do you have? Just one. So take care of it. A creative life is a physical life. What you consume affects your artistic energy. So think about taking care of your body that way as if it was your ultimate creative tool, because really it is. So creative well-being practices, nutrition, fresh foods, protein, healthy fats, and hydration. Fuel your brain and your body for creative focus. Take care of yourself. Movement. Surf, stretch, dance, walk, whatever comes up for you. Take a yoga class, whatever you want to do to move, get into your body and move it. It is so important to move your energy, move your body, and just keep yourself moving in a constant state, that you're in this fluid state where you are moving and expressing yourself. Relationships. Surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you. And this comes back to the environmental piece we touched on earlier. The people that are in your life are part of your environment. So choose them wisely. Surround yourself with supportive people who make you want to be a better person, who inspire you, who make you want to be the best version of yourself. It's so important to surround yourself with the right human beings. Sleep. Humans need restorative sleep. You are a human being. You are not a machine. You are not a robot. You need to sleep and you need to rest. Honor the yin. And then have some digital boundaries as well. This is the whole reason that I'm recording this as a video, so that you can listen to it. You don't necessarily have to watch it and read along, but less scrolling and more creating. And as I said earlier, my intention is that you can listen to this while you're doing something creative. I would love for you to be listening to this while you're drawing or painting or in a creative practice. Perhaps you want to go for a walk in nature and move your body and just be out in the natural world and see what comes up. Even sitting in your home somewhere comfy and quiet and just listening and seeing what comes up. Like, have the boundaries around the scrolling and the screen time. Even though, yes, I understand it's like a little bit strange for me to say that, because I'm recording this on a screen and you're listening to it in a digital space. It's just about having that balance, and also just being aware of how much time you're spending online and staring at a screen. And the creative insight around your body, or the 4th V, vitals, is that your body is your primary creative tool. Treat it with the same care that you would any other tool, your paintbrush, your camera, your musical instrument. You've got to take care of it if you want it to perform well, and your body is no different. And the 5th V is vision, the art of creating your future. A creative life thrives on purpose, inspiration, and small victories, those little wins that keep you inspired and motivated to keep going. So think about this. What are you looking forward to? Is there something coming up that you're really, really excited and inspired about? What small wins can you celebrate today? Even just the little things. I'm sure there's something that you did today that was a little win that deserves celebration. And how can you cultivate excitement for what's ahead? Have a vision for the future. Be excited about what's coming next. And this is great when you are present. Use all your 5 senses to ground yourself in the present moment. Be here now. Be a human being. Be present in the moment. Experience life with full sensory awareness. The sound of waves, the texture of paint, the smell of fresh air, like all of the things. Just engage your senses. Be a human to be present. and celebrate your creative process, not just the final outcome. Create just to create. Be in that present moment where you're in the creative flow, you're in a creative state, you're creating just because you want to create, not because there's an expectation or an outcome. And there's some research from the Happiness Lab that shows that having something to look forward to, no matter how small that is, significantly increases your happiness and motivation. So make sure you have something going on that's inspiring, something that you're working towards in the future, a goal, like something just to keep you motivated to keep going. And so the final thoughts on this one, the 5 V's as a framework for curating a life that is a work of art. These 5 V's, validation, venting, values, vitals, and vision, are not just principles of happiness, because this is where it came from, the Happiness Lab, and it actually relates to joy and happiness, but in this context, it's essential for creative wellness and for creativity. It's the foundation for aligning the mind, body, soul, and environment to cultivate a life that is inspired, authentic, and fulfilling. And that is the path to curating a life that is a work of art. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. I hope you got inspired by some of the things that I wrote and that I read here. If anything jumps out at you and you'd like to do some further study on it, I always encourage that. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to guide and inspire you based on things that have guided and inspired me in my creative life. And my wish is that you're going to take that inspiration, transmute it into your own creative way of being. So do some self-study, do some deep diving, do your own research, watch the documentaries, read the books, listen to the podcast. Never stop learning, never stop educating yourself, and never stop creating. If you're interested in learning more about my philosophy, Curate a Life That Is a Work of Art, I invite you to go to my website, peppalama.com. I'd love to work with you as a creative guide, and you can find more information about that there as well. Thank you so much for being here, and I will speak to you again soon. Ciao.